We're rolling? Langer spat there. How you doing, folks? Welcome once again to the Shlicketty cast. And it's gonna be a quick one today. I'm done. All right, we're out of here. No, we're not. All right, I'm Aaron Forsyth. I got my buddy Mike. Here he is. He's knocking.
All right, here we are. Welcome to the Cast. This week's episode. Aaron's doing the soft opening, trying to ease you into it. Nice
trying to ease it in. I'm trying to pry open the door.
I'm not. I'm a battering ram. I'm here to make shit happen. Speaking of battering rams,
Mike is shot out of a cannon.
did you see? You know I love my HBO. Did you see that latest season 2, episode 2 of Last of Us? Speaking of battering down doors and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoiler it for anybody if anybody hasn't seen it or whatever.
The Last of Us on HBO.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Do we? Okay. All right. Well.
Well, you were a big Walking Dead fan.
I was a huge Walking Dead. I've seen every episode, every off-spin. I know the thing. I know the lore.
And you had said to me, and this was back when I was living in that apartment that I hated in Phoenix.
Sure.
You were like, you got to watch Walking Dead. And I watched,
especially the first 4 seasons.
I watched 5 seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I had said to you at the time, you got to watch Sherlock.
I didn't watch Sherlock.
No. Nobody ever does anything I say.
Well, so, it's Sherlock.
But I will say this, there were times when I was watching that second episode of Last of Us where I'm like, this feels very Walking Dead-ish.
Well, the premise is similar. Other than the zombie, there's 2 things they upgraded. Spoiler alert, but you'll figure this one out. You can watch it. Theirs isn't the slow zombie eat brains.
Right.
This is more a fungal cordyceps thing. It's a fungal kind of thing.
I think we all learned the word cordyceps.
We did. And these zombies scream, and they're fast, and they run, which makes it way more terrifying.
Speaking of the screaming, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before. It might have been in one of the early episodes. I fucking hate the goddamn movie trope where anytime some sort of monster shows up on screen, they roar at the camera. Like, Rah!
Oh, it's like the Jurassic Park car horn dog.
That's it.
Bark.
Yeah.
Like they all want, like the cinematographer wants that shot.
Like no matter what it is.
We need the zombie scream shot.
Like Lord of the Rings, even the Harry Potter shit. Some fucking mountain troll comes out. Rah! Every time.
Yeah.
It is so.
It's like the Hulk.
Hackneyed.
Yeah, it's the Hulk thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just some weird.
I hate that
filmmaker bravado 14-year-old boy thing.
It's dumb. This fucking idea of things just coming out and roaring. Animals don't do that unless they're scared and they're trying to scare you off.
Right. When you said that, I instantly think of Jurassic Park. They're notorious.
I think you're right. I think that's kind of where it sort of got to be a thing.
Spielbergian.
Is it though?
Spielbergian.
It's not like it's not like Jaws showed up, stuck his head out of the water, and roared.
And went, roar. But King Kong did it.
When?
I don't know. I could picture King Kong doing it.
1933?
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing.
But they didn't know much back then, right?
Well, they took him to New York City. Essentially, he's just a gorilla. He's a large gorilla.
Yeah.
So he's doing gorilla behavior, which they do that. They will posture and pose to scare you off. Bears will do it as well.
Just, yeah.
Bears will roar.
Tiger. I can almost see a tiger.
Right. Yeah. Some animals do that. Not everything.
Saber-tooth tiger.
Do dragons do that? I mean, it's just, I hate that. That's my number 2 most hated movie trope. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you pointed it out, I'm going to notice it on everything. I never noticed that thing, but to me, it just seems like a camera guy director hard-on shot. It's kind of like the booby shot in the 80s. It's like, all right, we got a monster. We have to have the standalone. Oh, let's put the full
show how
behind
cool
him.
He is. Which I don't know if it's coming out of video games, because video games too. And in video games, it's kind of like, I got the girlfriend into playing that fucking Hogwarts Legacy. And, fucking cave troll comes out, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta fight this thing now? And then it's like, Rah! And you're like, oh fuck. Like, it sort of makes sense in video games, not in movies.
Right.
It's dumb.
So yeah, these cordyceps zombies, okay. Now, I like the fact that they're fast, because Walking Dead and all the zombie tropes of okay, I get they want to eat you, but they're walking slow and lumbering and they're stupid and they're slow.
Don't forget, and you probably don't remember this, but there's a movie coming down the pipe 28 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Second sequel of 28 Days Later.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And
that's where they ran.
Yeah, that was
way more
the
terrifying.
Zack Snyder, what do they call them, fast zombies or something like that?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
The swarming. Because then after that, it was everything. It was the I Am Legend, it was the World War Z, it was...
Right.
Not everything, but for a while it was, fast zombies. And then people were like, we don't like fast zombies. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, and it's less fun for the camera guy who wants to show off their zombie prosthetics.
Because, getting the Tom Savini Award.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's less a zombie movie and fucking more a chase film.
Yeah.
Which...
these cordyceps zombies in Last of Us are kind of cool. I like the concept. I like the concept that the cordyceps is everywhere and in the air and and so it's not just like you're going to die and turn. This is more you could get this moldy disease. It's like a mold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they were saying in the first season.
So that's cool. That's cool. And in this one, Walking Dead they took 12 seasons to get you to the end of where.
Is that how long it went?
Or more.
Wow.
Are they evolving?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they every now and then they'd throw a little Easter egg in there, like they could be. How do they turn the doorknob? Do they know that? Well, now they're turning the door. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, they were doing that in George Romero was doing that in his what was he doing? Land of the Dead, Island of the Dead, that whole thing. He had one zombie character in there who was like a black guy who was some sort of mechanic that got turned into a zombie. And all the zombies would be swarming and he would just stand there and watch what happens. And they'd be like, well, that's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they started to get this idea of the zombie evolving, which they
I like that.
They were mentioning that in The Last of Us. Did you catch that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because this one actually, didn't. Okay, so here we go. Here's where the spoilers come in.
Well, are we going to talk spoilers?
Well, let's wait on the spoilers. You're good now. I feel like Walking Dead has done every zombie thing, and it's not the zombie world. The zombies become an obstacle. So now you're living in a post-apocalyptic world. You've got supplies. You've got a lack of safe civilization. And
well, the thing of Walking Dead, the zombies were only a problem for like the first 3-4 episodes. Then it became the fucking other survivors, the people.
Right,
were the
and
bigger
people are
problem.
manipulating the hordes.
Yeah. Like, I forget when Michonne shows up. When she shows up with the zombies on the leashes with no arms and no jaws, it's like, she got to figure it out.
Right, that's pretty hardcore.
It's not too hard to.
So the Kirkman through the comic book, he's done it all through the Walking Dead. So and if you're a Walking Dead-ophile like I was, you've seen everything that you realize that humans are bad. Civilization, got to make it there. That you'll only last so long. You got to have supply runs, things like that. All right. We got that. So Last of Us has the same problem. Well, not even problem. That has the same setup.
It is based off a video game, and in a video game, you always not always.
Do you play the video game?
No, not The Last of Us. But many of these type of games, they're called survival games, and there's a lot of foraging for supplies. Trying to you got to get. It's like I've been playing a game on PlayStation with fucking Hopkins called The Forest. It's an old game. There's a newer version of it. But it's like, plane crash, you're on some island, there's these fucking mutants trying to attack you. So, you gotta find water, which is hard to come by.
Sure.
You gotta find food, which means you gotta kill animals to make food and shit like that. You gotta protect yourself from the monsters, so you gotta make some fucking shelter, so you gotta build some shit. So it's about resource gathering, and the fun of this type of game is that's sort of like an open world sort of mechanic where you just sort of go, what happens if I do this?
Yeah.
And just see what happens. Like I was playing one of those games and I was in a house and there's a hospital over here like across the street, but I don't want to have to cross the parking lot because of the zombies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what happens if I just dig down 20 feet and then just dig a tunnel straight across to the hospital?
You can do that.
Anyway.
This is the kind of shit they would do in there.
But it's the video game logic, and so that sort of gets built into this story here, which for people who don't play the video games, maybe it's sort of new and novel, but for the video game players, this is pretty normal stuff.
Yeah, so we knew it was going to happen, and people who play the video game know, okay, the main character it's going down. But here we go. Walking Dead had a brilliant way of. It took a while for me to pick up on the pattern, but you'd have a civilization of people, and these people, some of them would be the classic red shirt. We call them red shirts, which are red shirts in Star Trek, when you don't get to know them because you know they're going to die in the first episode.
Because they have no name.
Right.
You don't know who they are.
Yeah, they'll just
Kirk, Spock, and Bones, and two guys in red shirts go down to a planet.
Yeah, you know the red shirts are dead. Yeah.
Which,
So Walking Dead had that, but Walking Dead would basically introduce you to them, and then you'd get to know them, and then instead of you'd think, oh, they're red, they're going to die, they wouldn't kill them, and then they disappear. Next episode, they might have a cameo. Third episode, this whole episode's about that red shirt from 2 fucking episodes back.
Yeah.
I think I like this fella, or this chick is cool, and then you get to know their backstory and how they ended up there, and then they're back selling an episode. So you're time flipping a little bit, but then on the other hand, you're getting attached to these characters, and I like that because you see how they're working in the world, you know.
And that's the sort of character building that you can only do in a long form. You can't really do it in movies,
Which makes it superior.
You
I
got
love
to
it.
move the
Love
story.
it.
Move the story.
So this Last of Us, all right. Here's my criticism. It's kind of like they're not doing it as masterful as Walking Dead did. And weirdly enough, I mean, it's top notch. Way more budget. You could tell there's way more budget. You could tell the actors are really good. It's just the sub actors. Like you're in an encampment, they're in an encampment, and I'm not attached to this encampment in any way. I'm not attached to these characters in any way, in a weird way. It's like, oh, you know one's Joel's brother, and you know it's Joel's brother's wife. But then there's all these other people walking around. We don't know their names.
We don't even
Walking Dead would have been like, hey, Charlie, hey, Frank, hi, Sam.
Yeah, we don't even know how many of them they are. Like in The Walking Dead, when they were, spoiler alerts, when they were in that little suburb that they were in.
Alexandria.
It seemed like it was, only, 6 blocks this way, 8 blocks the other. There were maybe 80 people there or something.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
This seems like a valley, like almost like a ski resort town. It's like a valley in Wyoming or something.
It's Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Oh, it's Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He was yelling Jackson Hole. Yeah, I wanted that.
Apparently that's where rich people go to live.
All right.
There was a big joke about it in Silicon Valley. There was 2 billionaires running into each other at the private airport, getting on their private planes. He's like, where are you going? I'm going to Jackson Hole. I'm going to Jackson Hole too. And instead of one of them saying, oh, let's just fly together and take the same plane, he goes, I'll text you. We can play Wordle with each other while we're flying,
Right. That's, yeah.
Billionaires. But yeah, when they showed it in this episode, they showed the town. It's a fucking town.
Yes.
It's a large town.
Horses and all.
There's got to be
farming
500
lands.
people in there. You know what I mean?
But it's winter time.
It's a lot.
So now you're adding a winter blizzard to this.
Did you watch the behind the scenes making of little 10-minute thing?
Yeah.
They shot that in an actual blizzard.
Yeah, which was cool. It wasn't CGI snow, which was kind of cool. I give them total thumbs up for that.
I can tell it's all CGI fire these days. Nobody does fire. Like the flamethrower.
Yeah.
That's all CGI. I can tell. But yeah, all the winter shit. And dude, the nutty thing about that is that's hard on the equipment, like the cameras.
Sure.
Like it's like if you got that camera outside in that cold, you got to leave it out in that cold because if you take it inside, it'll start. Getting condensation inside the lens between the pieces of glass and shit, and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really well-made show. I love how they do it, and I'm a dork. I find the behind-the-scenes sort of more fascinating than the actual show. But
yeah.
But that second episode, really good action. Really, really good.
Yeah, you almost, like I said, did you get the feeling like the Game of Thrones when the White Walkers were attacking the
100%. 100%.
city?
I said to the girlfriend, I get a lot. They're standing on top of this wall, looking out, and it's winter blowing. And they got these like braziers with fire every 10 feet down the wall, and I'm like, this is Castle Black.
Yeah, and they're like pouring the oil on them, and yeah. And then here comes the big cordyceps zombie, which is like a giant mushroom character.
Yeah, right. When he shows up, I almost started laughing because I'm like, oh, here's the big boss. And I think I said or almost said, just like a video game. And I was like, oh yeah.
It is a video game, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And I even predicted, I'm like, oh, let me guess, he's going to make a beeline for Joel's brother. Here we go. I'm like, all right, here we go, which he does.
Well, that was the whole thing. Like, when I realized, I don't know, probably getting too spoiler alerty here.
Let's spoiler alert it.
All right.
Shut it off now if you don't want to hear it about it. Or just hear us
pause
and
it,
just rewatch
go watch it, come back.
Yeah.
3, 2, okay. So when I realized both Joel and Ellie are not in the town anymore,
Yeah.
and that whole zombie horde comes up, I was like, oh, the town's going to get destroyed.
Right. And they're going to come back to nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because narratively, that's what you do.
Sure.
I mean, otherwise, you just have them still be in the town with everybody else, and then it's just, you know what I mean, assault on the town.
Yeah. And they fought valiantly, and they did well, but prior to this, as the city's getting attacked by these zombies and they're overrunning it, kind of like the White Walkers did, I'm not attached to the city. It's weird. It's kind of like, all right, the kids, the wife and children, or the women and children went down in the basements, and then the fighters went up high, to shoot down. But then they just show them huddled down there and go, oh.
Well, that's the women and children.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, I kind of wanted to know the fear and the trepidation these women and children had down there. Walking Dead would have spent a whole episode of of the people down below. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get to attach to those women and children. So when the zombies do kick down the door and kill and eat those kids, you'd be like, holy shit, But now, if they did that, you'd be like,
honestly. The whole discussion of that sort of thing with the women and children hiding in the basement stuff, I can't help but remember in the fucking last season of Game of Thrones, even Dinklage was talking about this in the press. He's like, yeah, smart to have the women and children go hide in the crypts with all the dead bodies when you got the army of the dead and the guy who can raise the dead coming to attack. Smart. I'm like, oh yeah, good point, Peter.
Yeah, I would have said, yeah, how come they wouldn't have just gone to the sewers and then out?
Or somewhere, something.
Yeah.
Instead of like down to the crypts
and then
with all
follow
the dead
the river
bodies.
out to the sea.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So Last of Us is pretty good, season 2. Curious to see where it's going to go from here. But my girlfriend said, she's like, is it just going to be like this way from now on then? And she's like, if it's going to be just that for the rest of the season, it kind of makes it a lot less interesting. So we know where it's going to be headed by the end of the episode. But the question is, how long is it going to be on that track? Is this going to be like a
Vengeance.
Right. Is this going to be like a 2 or 3 episode arc?
Yeah.
Or is this the whole season? And it's nothing but revenge and Ellie on a long walk. I don't know.
Yeah. And that was my complaint to you. This is where anime, all right, I'm going to go on an Aaron rant again. I haven't had a rant cast in a while. I don't know if I've ranted about this before. I'm tired of the anime. The Japanese trope of let's avenge our parents' death. Stop it. It's always a preteen who was at the wrong place at the wrong time and bucks the system, and he doesn't think like all the others, so his parents get killed, and he's going to avenge the death.
But then he goes to avenge the death, and he gets his ass kicked and almost killed. But then somebody saves him and nurses him back to health, and then he begins the training montage.
Oh.
So then he can go back and really defeat him.
There it is.
That is the plot. And this is the plot in a lot of...
I feel like this is where we're going with Last of Us.
Yeah, a lot of like Hong Kong, what do they call it, chop socky movies or whatever the fuck, the sort of kung fu movies.
Suey.
It's always, there's the kid who's studying with his master, learning kung fu. There's the rival school, There's a thing, the kid's getting beat up, his master comes in to save him, and they kill the master or something like that, and then it's the whole revenge thing. It's the parent getting killed, the revenge, the training montage.
Yeah, you can go back to fucking Karate Kid to fucking
it seems to be
every Bruce Lee movie.
That's yes. It seems, well, not necessarily the Bruce Lee movies. No. But like even the Jackie Chan, some of the Jackie Chan movies and stuff like that.
The Charles Bronson.
And I mean, there's got to be this older figure
that'll show them the wisdom of his ways, and say that maybe revenge isn't the answer. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Well, he'll have a. It's just all these tropes and cliches.
But honestly, it's not that far from the Joseph Campbell hero's myth, the hero's journey sort of thing, where you've got
the hero's journey. Yeah. Fill the folks in on hero's journey. I've heard that term a lot.
Oh, so
what is the official hero's journey? You'll hear this term, folks.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I wrote a book specifically. That was one that we were talking to you about the drawings.
Yeah.
So we specifically just constructed a simple story using. So Joseph Campbell, I don't know what he did. I think he was like a fucking literature teacher or something. Anyway, I guess he had gone or somebody had gone and looked at like 300 of the greatest stories of all time, and they found this commonality in the story narrative, and they basically broke it down to like a certain number of beats, right? And so it's like first you've got establishing the world, right? Introduce the character, where they live, the characters, all this sort of stuff. Then you've got the thing that happens, right? Something happens that takes us from the normal, right? That's in every story. That's called the inciting incident.
Inciting, right? Yes.
So then it kicks things off. So then there's the call to action. The hero is supposed to be called to do something, but he's unwilling. So it's the unwilling hero at first, right? And then somehow he gets sucked into
here, guys?
it, or something happens. Like
Here
the
we
village
go.
gets attacked, and now he can't stay in the village because he's got to flee.
So
then he's got to go out.
Before?
He's got to venture out into the world. So he leaves the world that we know, and he enters into the secondary world, the outer world. Now, on the outer world, he's on his own. He's got to find his own way. So he gets into sort of some trouble early on, and then he has to get rescued by somebody who becomes his friend and mentor.
Sounds like every Walking Dead season.
Right? So then, then you have a series of trials.
Sure.
This bad guy. And so each time he learns something about himself and builds his skills and his confidence. So then when he gets to where he's going, he can have the big boss battle, whatever. Then there's a whole thing about returning to the original world. And then basically being sort of like bringing the new information back to everybody and this sort of thing. So anyway, it's a whole thing with the Joseph Campbell hero myth archetype. I think it was like 12 or 13 points. I forget. I don't know. It's been a couple of years since we worked on it.
But it's pretty common, and
Super common.
If you read through it, you go, oh, and then you could just think of your favorite movie, and you go, oh, there it is. Oh, there. Whoa, there's a pattern here.
It's Star Wars. It's Lord of the Rings. It's Harry Potter. It's all these stories that are where you have a young hero who knows nothing about the world, and they're sort of thrust into this other world that they have to adapt to and overcome, whatever, And that's where you get the drama of the story from.
Yep.
And so
The
that's
hero's journey.
Yeah, the hero's journey.
So yeah,
Joseph
some of you files out there, you'll pick up on that next time you hear the word hero's journey. You'll hear that.
It's pretty common these days. I think there was when they put out like Star Wars on DVD or something like that, and they had extra stuff. I think they actually had Joseph Campbell on there explaining the hero's myth or the hero's journey, sort of thing.
Hero's journey.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what that is. It's really common
That should be the name
now.
of our episode today. The hero's journey.
Yeah, could be. Everybody knows about these days, so it's super common. It's out there. You can look it up, find it.
So Last of Us, I recommend it, but you're gonna hear,
Yeah, I will say
it's got things that are better than Walking Dead, but it's better quality show. It's just maybe it's because I've seen it all. It's almost like when you watch a Marvel movie that's done well, but you go, oh, I've seen 100 Marvel movies, but. So you kind of know what's going to happen. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Am I desensitized to this? It's kind of like watching pornography. No. I've seen it. I've seen anal 1,000 times. Why do I got to watch this?
No, the other thing is the genre pictures.
Oh, okay.
Genre pictures are a thing. And you deal with it when you go to film school because that's often the easiest way people talk about things. Like if you want to learn how to write stories, you go get the book called Save the Cat, right? And the Save the Cat book breaks down like a number of genres. Mm-hmm. A genre would be like a Western, a horror movie, a sci-fi, a noir, which they don't do anymore, a thriller. These are movie types. And so when you do these movie types, a romantic comedy, there are patterns that it follows. And one of my favorite examples of making fun of these predictable beats, story beats, and plot lines is a movie called They Came Together.
I don't know that one.
With Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd.
Oh, yeah.
It is a romantic comedy that is a spoof of romantic comedies. And they go beat by beat for romantic comedies in such over-the-top and silly, absurd ways.
Yeah.
But it still works as a movie because they're going beat by beat, even though it's fucking the dumbest shit.
Right, yeah. They almost spoof a Hallmark movie, but they kind of,
It's so genius. I love They Came Together. It's so fucking funny. Yeah. But when you deal with genre pictures, and like Save the Cat, when they're trying to teach you about screenplays, they're using the genres because they're easy. If you're doing a Western, think about it. You got the hero, you got the bad guy. You got the damsel in distress, you got the town they gotta save, you got the you got the incoming new world, the railroad, the telegraph, There are these story beats that you get in the Western. And so if you're gonna do a Western, you gotta hit those beats. Because if you don't hit those beats, not really a Western, And that's why genre pictures get very predictable and boring. Action movies follow the same plot. You know what I mean?
So you would think from a filmmaker or a writer's point of view, you would go, okay, well, if this is the pattern that everyone's fallen into, if everyone wants, if everyone's into this, I don't know, a Spielbergian thing, why wouldn't you just do the opposite? Why wouldn't you just make a movie that was like, doesn't fill those same beats?
Because
it seems like obvious.
Because they don't want to gamble with their money in Hollywood. They
is
don't
that
want to
it?
take risks.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing of the genre picture. It's a proven formula. I mean, this is what Roger Corman was doing. This is how he made his money. Or all those B movies, the horror movies, the Hammer horror shit that I love.
Yeah.
They all sort of follow the same sort of story, and that's why it's like it's almost not about the story. It's about how they do the story. It's about the characters. It's about the setting. It's about the cinematography. It's about the production design.
Sure.
How the story moves along, how it looks, how it feels. Because ultimately, you know what I mean? A horror movie is a horror movie. You know what I mean?
True.
You could split the horror movies into slashers, torture porn, gothic horror.
True.
Body horror.
Yeah. There's subgenres.
Yeah, exactly. So in each of those, if there's enough movies that follow that trend, like if one movie comes out, like you get to mixing genres, like The Fly. Remember The Fly?
Sure.
So we're mixing sci-fi with body horror. David Cronenberg, who's the master of body horror, right?
All right.
So we get the sci-fi. It's a remake of The Fly, right? But you got this Cronenberg body horror into it. Now it's a crossover, which is doing something different. That does pretty good because that's a pretty
because you're taking this set of tropes with that set of tropes. So it's almost like saying, I'm gonna have a gangster movie, a vampire gangster movie.
That's it.
Let's do it. Let's do vampires who are Italian gangsters, and let's put it in the
Yeah, exactly. So then you get these sort of movies that are,
which actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, if it hasn't been done already. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't
steal my ideas, guys.
There was a mafia vampire movie that they shot in Pittsburgh, mid-late 80s. Robert Loggia was in it. I forget the name of it.
Or they should have the zombie or the vampires versus the mob.
Well, no.
Or is it the vampires were the mob?
This was, I think, it
one
was,
or the other. Well, each would play good.
I think it was a female vampire
Ooh.
who started taking out mafia guys because she figured no one's going to miss that. She was like in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
which
like
I think
a
was
vigilante.
For New York City. No, she's just trying to feed, but she's kind of like, oh, these are kind of underworld people.
Yeah, might as well feed on the underworld instead of feed on the,
It's like Innocent Blood or something like that. Like Robert, I remember Robert Loggia was in it. I remember him in the back of some Cadillac limo. Anyway. But yeah, those sort of crossover pictures, like Get Out, the Jordan Peele movies.
Yeah.
That's a lot what he is dealing with. It's like, Get Out is like a race picture, but it's also sort of a horror movie sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Which honestly, when I see Get Out, it's that movie Skeleton Key with Kate Hudson. If you've ever seen Skeleton Key.
Oh, it's been years.
It's the exact same. Yeah. It's the exact same. That's why when I was watching Get Out, like 12 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend didn't. She didn't see the Skeleton Key. But I was like,
she was into it. Yeah.
I was like, I know what this is. But once again, just because you know kind of where it's going to go, It's how he does it in the style that
True. We're that way with music. We know, like, oh, I know this is this kind of music. I know where the song's going. I know where here it's a pre-chorus, here's the bridge. You know, we know where it's going. But you like to see how they've rearranged the pickup sticks. It's the same pile of pickup sticks. You just want to see how they made it, you know, or how they rearranged it. They interpreted that same 8 crayons, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, you know.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, genres and all that sort of stuff.
Wow, it's like film school here at the Shlicketty Doocast, guys. I like that. So, what do we... Oh, we got to get back to the Wayback Machine. Speaking of Hero's Journey, here we go. We're going back in time. 19... What? Where are we at? 81?
We're at 1981.
81. 81. Shlickety do 81. Well, I got some stuff for 81. Let's do it. Stick around, we got a best worst list, but this, we'll tell you about it later. Now, I got it 1981, guys. It was the Reagan era. Ugh. And it's taken shape. Deregulation industries, turning into the Wild West of commerce and finances. People will soon accumulate vast amounts of wealth through the stock markets. Sounds familiar, huh? Giving rise to the yuppie culture. Ooh. Ew. And the 80s bad guy with the flip collar. I'll get you guys. Let's see. It's a relatively gritty time, even though because the influence from the 1970s is still prominent yet. So we're not quite there yet, but we're there politically. So we got Ronald Reagan, we got that shit. He actually got shot. John Hinckley Jr. shot him in 81. You know that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you remember that on TV when that happened?
Yeah.
I think I do. I remember my parents talking about it, but it was kind of on a street corner, wasn't it? Or not a street corner. Was it like New York City or something like that? Or is it in Washington? Where did he do it at?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a city. It wasn't like doing a speech or anything. I think he was like going to his limo or something, like, or going, you know, they shot him on the street, like close up. Yeah. Pretty kooky stuff. Let's see, what else do I got here? Oh, here's, before we get into the entertainment stuff, Mike's going to get you into TVs and movies and music. But the first recognized case of HIV/AIDS came in, so it's 81. Here we go. Whew, beginning of the end, guys. And it's kind of funny. I found this kind of ironic. The Salvadoran army kills 800 to 1,000 civilians. Oh, good one, El Salvador. Huh. Well, yeah. You notice we're in 2025. A lot of stuff's history's repeating. Oh, here we go. NASA launches space shuttle Columbia. That's a pretty good one. Pope John Paul II is shot and injured as well. So a pope dies.
No. Pope John Paul II did not die.
He didn't die there?
Nope.
Huh.
He was still pope for a long time after that.
He was poping.
But they did create the Pope-mobile.
I just saw the Pope. It was funny, on Easter, they just showed the Pope-mobile.
Mm-hmm. They still use it to this day.
I asked the question, is that the same Pope-mobile, or have they been building new Pope-mobiles along the way?
I imagine they build new Pope-mobiles.
Yeah. I know, I'm always fascinated with, like, not only Pope-mobile, I'd like to see a documentary on the Pope-mobile, but and they don't really show the Secret Service, but like the Air Force Ones and the little thing they call the Beast that they travel the president in. That's all bulletproof and bomb-proof and airproof. You know, those are modern marvels. So yeah, here we go.
What's actually more interesting than that? You ever see the anti-kidnapping vehicles they make in Mexico?
The what?
Anti-kidnapping vehicles they make in Mexico City.
Anti-kidnapping? No, I've never even heard of it. Wait, anti-kidnapping?
It's a big thing in Mexico.
I've never even heard that.
Yep.
And this happens in Mexico.
This happens in Mexico City all the time.
Well, I know kidnappings do, but I mean, it happens so much. You go, let's make an anti-kidnapping vehicle.
They'll take an SUV and they'll strip it down and they'll armor plate the bottom of it so they can't use mines to disable it. They'll bulletproof the doors, bulletproof the glass, improve the locks on the doors.
How do they keep the tires from blowing out?
I think they'll use those run-flat tires or solid tires.
How come all tires aren't that?
Weight.
Yeah.
Tires as they are fucking heavy.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if you've done tires or batteries. Tires and batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, they're heavy.
All right, so we're in 1981. What do you want to do first? Because this is a big fucking year for music. So you want to get right into it?
Yeah, we can go through the music real quick.
Now, do you want to do the charts music, or do you want to say, hey, dun, 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 dun.
So, yeah, in August 1st, MTV starts.
There it is.
But that's much later in the year.
Yeah, so we got a half a year. You got a half a year prior.
Yeah.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, you got about 8 months pre-MTV.
So this is the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles of 1981. It's fairly fucking terrible.
All right.
These are awful. I'm going to blow through a bunch of these real quick.
All right. I like them because they're terrible.
No, you won't.
No.
There's a couple good things in here, but if you're too young and you don't know these, fucking, I don't know, look the shit up. Maybe you'll like
this
some of
isn't
them.
like some of these other lists from the 70s we were telling you check it out. This is more like, ew.
85% of this is fucking terrible. Like I said, there's some good stuff in here. Number one song of the year, Betty Davis Eyes. Give you any indication.
Yeah, we've all heard that.
Number two, Endless Love.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Diana
Lionel
Ross and
Richie
Lionel Richie.
duet. Oh, yeah. That was from the movie Endless Love, wasn't it?
Yeah. Number three, Lady, Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, Lady. Ugh.
John Lennon, Just Like Starting Over. I don't know what that is. He was dead.
Yeah, it was kind of a slower song. It was his solo stuff. But he had been shot the year before, so his solo stuff's charting.
Yeah. Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield. That's not bad. Celebration, Kool and the Gang. Kisses on My List, Hall & Oates.
All right, that's
I
cool.
love that song. Now It Goes Terrible. Well, I Love a Rainy Night, Eddie Rabbitt.
All right, yeah, that was popular. I remember hearing it.
9 to 5 by Dolly Parton.
The movie, Dolly Parton.
Keep on Loving You by REO Speedwagon.
Of course it was REO Speedwagon.
This is the theme song from The Greatest American Hero at number 11.
Ew.
By Joey Scarberry?
Joe Scarborough.
Joey Scarberry.
Yeah.
S-C-A-R-B-U-R-Y.
That show stinks.
Believe it or not. Sheena Easton, Morning Train.
Every time I hear that, I still think of Kramer from Seinfeld doing the work thing.
Yeah. Smokey Robinson, Being With You.
Okay.
Juice Newton, Queen of Hearts.
Ugh.
Blondie, Rapture.
All right. That's okay. That's tolerable.
Some band called Radio with a Y in it. Blondie Again, Tide is High. You know what I mean? All this sort of stuff. Just the Two of Us, Grover Washington Jr. and Bill Withers.
Ew.
Slow Hand by the Pointer Sisters. Winner Takes It All by ABBA. I'm skipping around now just to anything that we actually recognize.
Yeah.
Every
terrible.
Woman in the World by Air Supply and The One That You Love at 27 and 28, back-to-back Air Supplies.
Oh.
Elvira, Oak Ridge Boys. There's a couple further ones down I just wanted to mention real quick while we're here. Urgent by Foreigner. That's a good one.
All right. Not too shabby.
And, you know, it's getting terrible. Oh, the Police pop up in here a couple of times.
Sure.
Dee-doo-doo-doo, dee-da-da-da. And also Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
Oh, Tom Petty.
And, yeah, Stevie Nicks. Arthur's Theme, Christopher Cross. Another one, Bites the Dust.
Oh, yeah.
Master Blaster by Stevie Wonder.
All right.
Yeah, just, you know, stuff like that. Nothing really exciting. So, therefore...
The radio is a dead zone of played on, played off crap.
Now, let's talk metal, because metal starts coming in here. And the thing that's interesting is that, of course, metal got started in 1970 with Black Sabbath.
Sure.
And so...
Well,
yeah.
popularized by them.
Who started it?
They say Blue Cheer.
Nope, they did not.
Who was before Sabbath? Well, what a Blue Cheer? I would say...
But they aren't a metal band. They had a heavy sound.
Yeah.
Same thing with Iron Butterfly. They're not a
Iron
metal
Butterfly, I was
They're
thinking.
not a metal band. Black Sabbath was the first band that was specifically making music that would be like horror movie music.
Yeah, true. Right in the genre, as opposed to like anyone before that lucking upon
That's
a metal
specifically what they do is
song. All right, I'll go with that.
horror stuff, and that is heavy metal.
Yeah.
Sure, you can have the heavy sound, I watched a documentary on YouTube about fucking proto metal.
Okay.
Which is your Blue Cheer, doing Eddie Cochran covers, your Iron Butterfly, even Hendrix with some of his shit. And they were saying the Hendrix song Machine Gun. I mean, some people say the first metal song was the Beatles, Helter Skelter.
Yeah, for the time it was considered heavy, you know.
So 1981, we're starting to get this second wave of metal. And people say, what is this second wave of metal? And there's a huge difference between the 1980s onward metal and the sort of late 70s metal that was still hanging around. Mm-hmm. So to that end, here is a list of albums from 1981 that are the sort of older, late 70s ideas of metal. Which
right. The evolved or starting to evolve metal.
Most of these I hate. But I will say that there are twice as many of these albums that came out in 81 as good albums, metal albums that came out in 81.
Yeah.
Because it's still early on.
Metal. We're talking metal. You're not talking like Aerosmith, because that doesn't count. That's not metal.
This is a blah metal album that came out in 81. Kiss, The Elder. Music from The Elder. Garbage.
But Kiss arguably could have been, you know.
They're a 70s band.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been doing it. They're at it. Yeah.
Because 2 years later, they take off the makeup. Ugh. And then are they still Kiss? I mean, they had some success with some songs.
Sure.
But I think it was mostly MTV music videos.
Yeah,
pushing
if there
them
was an MTV, no, they would have been dead in the water there.
Yeah. Crazy Nights, Tigers of Pantang.
Oh, Tiger. Yeah, that's the old John Sykes.
It's the 70s. It's the 70s. They're like 70s rock bands, quasi-metal.
My brother had the record.
Mm-hmm. Night Flight by Budgie. I actually like Budgie a lot.
Budgie, yeah, they're kind of cool.
I like Budgie. Shock Tactics by Samson. And the reason I'm putting this in is because a lot of these albums, when you look up metal albums from 1981, it's chock full of these late 70s type quasi-metal bands that I personally fucking hate. Samson being kind of one of them. And isn't that Bruce Dickinson's band?
Oh, you're
right. I think that was Bruce Dickinson's band.
Yeah.
That's probably why that one's, you know, I've never heard him.
Yeah, that's probably why it's even in the conversation.
Alice Cooper, Special Forces.
Alice Cooper, yeah, that's a given.
70s garbage. UFO. I just saw a documentary on UFO.
Yeah, British, but cool. That's Michael Schenker and them.
Rock Until You Drop by Raven.
Raven, yeah. Weren't they the guys with the football helmets and the shoulder
drummer
pads?
had the football helmet?
Yeah, dumb.
Spellbound album by Tigers of Pantang again. They were prolific, if nothing else. This one I've never even heard of. Time Tells No Lies is the album. The band is called Praying Mantis.
Never heard that one.
Never heard of that either.
I knew my metal, but I don't know that one.
Fire Down Under by the band called Riot.
Yeah, okay. My brother knew Riot, yeah.
Hard and Heavy by Anvil.
Anvil, yes. We had that record. I know the cover. I can picture the cover right now.
I know. This is all garbage.
Yeah.
Denim and Leather by Saxon.
Oh, I had that one. I had that one on cassette. Denim and Leather, yes.
Welcome to Hell, Venom.
Yeah, I knew that.
Difficult to Cure, Rainbow. Fire of Unknown Origin, Blue.
Well, Rainbow, okay, now keep in mind, that's Richie Blackmore
but it's
fresh
terrible.
out
Rainbow
of...
sucks.
Yeah, they had moments, but you're right. I didn't like it.
No.
They had a few songs that were all right, but I was like, for the
lame.
most part.
It had this fucking 70s feel. They got Graham Bonnet singing, you know, or did they have Dio originally? No, they didn't.
I don't know who was first. Graham Bonnet was one, Dio was one, yeah. Yeah, but
Garbage.
Richie Blackmore, the guitar player.
It's all late 70s schlocky fucking bullshit. I hated all of that stuff, except Budgie. I like Budgie. I like Budgie a lot. So those are the sort of shitty, you know, late 70s proto-metal, because this is a sort of on the edge. Now, the good metal albums that came out in 81 is a really short list. I thought it was going to be much longer. It was not, but these are quality. Mob Rules by Black Sabbath.
That's
with
quality.
Dio in there
That
now.
holds up to this day.
Why is Dio singing for Black Sabbath? Because Ozzy went solo. Diary of a Madman, the second album came out. We neglected to mention some of the 1980 metal albums, you know.
Yeah.
But Diary of a Madman was out in 81.
Is Quiet Riot on there yet?
No, that's not yet. No. That's next year.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Killers by Iron Maiden.
Ooh. That was before Quiet Riot, huh?
That's the second
Killers.
Maiden
but that was
album.
the Paul Di'Anno one.
Yes.
Different singer. Dickinson wasn't in that. That's
No,
Paul Di'Anno
Dickinson
singing.
came in on Number of the Beast.
Okay.
Which that's where I got into Maiden. I really wasn't that into the first Maiden album or the second Maiden album.
Yeah.
The songs are all right.
Yeah, they're fine.
But Number of the Beast, great
yeah,
album.
that kicked it over the top for me.
I love this album, High and Dry by Def Leppard.
Sure.
This is their second album.
Drummer with
first,
two arms then.
Yep, still had two arms. The first album was On Through the Night, which I love both of these albums because their original guitar player, along with Steve Clark, was Pete Willis.
Yes.
I liked a lot of his writing. I guess he was a fucking real bad alcoholic and shit, but
Sure.
I liked a lot of his writing. Got Me Coming Under Fire, Billy's Got a Gun, these sort of stuff. I liked it. It's good stuff. And it wasn't super overproduced like Pyromania was with Mutt Lange.
Right, yeah. That's why, yeah, you're right. The old Def Leppard, kids, go back in time, fuck that pour some sugar on me bullshit. Go old Def Leppard when he had two arms.
Well, if you want to rock.
Yeah, they're rock.
I mean, I love those songs like
But you could almost...
Hello America, Rock Brigade, love that
Yeah,
shit.
those original two albums, yeah, that could have been, yeah, they're metal.
I love them.
But yeah, it was borderline rock metal.
But
That's
that's
where the
what was
fine
going
line
on at the time. Because at the same time, fair warning,
Van Halen.
it's not really metal. It's sort of metal. It's like dancey metal, and that's where Def Leppard was living.
Yeah.
In the dancey metal zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of which,
Almost like I don't want to say the word glam, but a touch of
No, not
showman.
glam.
It was a showman metal.
not glam. None of this is glam. None of this has anything to do with glam. This is
Yeah.
not hair metal.
Not yet.
This has nothing to do with anything. This is
We got
actual.
time for that.
This is early '80s metal. Also, Motley Crue's first album, Too Fast for Love.
Yeah, which arguably was, yeah, well, they're huge in California, but yeah, kind of demo-y. The mix was terrible.
Independently produced.
Yeah.
For those about to rock, AC/DC.
Ooh, for those about the rock. Now that, yeah.
Point of Entry, Judas Priest. Heading Out to the Highway,
Oh,
Solar Winds, I think was on
yeah,
there.
I had the cassette of that. I remember
Something else
that.
big on Point of Entry. Was that,
Yeah, it was kind of,
You Got Another Thing Coming? Or something like that? I forget.
maybe, yeah, that was before Hellion Electric Eye. That was before Screaming for Vengeance, so it was one before it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had that. I had British Steel, that one, and then I remember
Yes.
buying Screaming for Vengeance in this cassette when
Yeah,
I was
same-
a kid.
same here.
Little kid.
Same here. And then I got to Defenders of the Faith, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah, you're right. I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm out.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Judas Priest fan. I respect him and all, but for my taste, there were maybe one or two good songs and a lot of filler.
But I was still playing with Legos. I remember playing with Legos to listen to the Judas Priest.
Can I tell you this? Like,
I was a kid.
I was like 11 or 12 listening to fucking, what is it, British Steel on my Walkman. That song, Grinder. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this sounds really gay. Grinder, Looking for Meat.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. I
I did.
I was just thinking like a meat grinder, but almost like a scary meat grinder out there going, like kind of like haunted, like Carrie was to a car. This would be like a haunted meat grinder looking for meat.
When I hear people say
a
looking for
monster.
meat,
Huh?
when I hear people say they're looking for meat,
Yeah, it sounds pretty gay in hindsight. Now that
Means
you
they're
know
looking
he's
for a
gay, it's like,
trouser
oh,
sausage.
yeah, they're talking about wieners.
yep, pretty much that's what it sounded like to
Okay.
me. Oh, and so these were on like almost every list.
Sure.
The last list I checked, Breaking the Chains by Dawkins.
Ew, really?
What do you mean, ooh?
No, that seems kind of early for them.
No, this is 81. This is the Breaking the Chains album. Don Dokken did entirely himself. He plays all the guitars on it. The only song with
that's
George
right.
Lynch on it is the live cut, Paris is Burning.
That's right. Wow.
Not great songwriting because,
Yeah, it felt very.
I like the Dokken. I love Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key. I love those two albums. I spent a winter in the basement learning to play guitar, just trying to figure out some of those songs and riffs and stuff like that. I love the Dokken stuff. But then, of course, by the time you get to Dream Warriors or whatever, I'm
that's
out.
stupid.
It's all silly. So that's about it for the music end of things.
Not
at this
bad.
point,
Metal run. We had a metal run.
right? So
We'll have more metal runs later on.
yeah, like Aaron said, next year's 1982, Quiet Riot's album comes out, and Quiet Riot ends
I think
up,
that blew the lid off for
that
me.
that blew the door off for everybody.
Yeah.
That is what put metal into the mainstream, made it a viable art form. It really wasn't in the mainstream yet. It didn't get there until like probably Motley Crue's third album, Theater of Pain or something like that.
Right.
In like 86.
But even though Motley Crue was technically before Quiet Riot, but Quiet Riot was playing the clubs. They were the bigger club act back then in California.
So Quiet Riot was a late 70s band that had Randy Rhoads in it.
Yep.
And now on YouTube, you can find some of those demos and or concerts of old Quiet Riot with Randy Rhoads playing in it. Their fucking songs are awful. They're fucking... Go to YouTube, listen to it. You think it's different? Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
They're fucking terrible songs. And
Yeah.
they're always talking about how no record label will sign us. And you can fucking tell why. They are terrible. And, Randy Rhoads is great and all. It really makes you see sort of how important Bob Daisley was to those first 2 Ozzy albums.
Yeah.
Because in Quiet Riot, as good a musician as Randy Rhoads is, their songs are fucking awful.
And you think of Quiet Riot being huge, their 2 biggest hits were Slade songs.
That's true.
They weren't even their songs.
No, Mental Health.
True, Mental Health.
I mean, no, you're right. Their 2 biggest songs were Slade covers, but there were 2 big ones off the first album, Mental Health and then...
Come On Feel the Noise.
Come On Feel the Noise, yeah. Which I always liked Mental Health. I thought that was a pretty good song.
Yeah. Once again, I always thought the mixes were terrible. It sounded horrible in my tape deck, but I knew what was happening, so I liked it. I liked the energy.
Yeah, it was that sort of early 80s mix. A lot of reverb on the drums.
Yeah.
The guitars were shink, shink, sort of. A lot of high-endy.
But MTV's happening. So MTV's on. Now, metal's blending through. I remember,
No, so when MTV started, the only videos that they really had to play, so there were 2 metal bands that had videos ready to go. And they were Def Leppard. They had the Rock of Ages, Fool and Photograph. Those were ready to go.
Photograph ready to go,
82.
production and all, swinging the sword, fire and everything.
And Iron Maiden had Run to the Hill. It was all like live shit that I think they shot at Hammersmith.
Yeah.
Odeon.
Yeah.
And so, which I think that entire concert I came across on YouTube. That entire concert that they shot and made those early Maiden videos from, where they're interspersing the live footage with like old black and white cowboy Indian movies, silent era. Cowboy Indian, for like Run to the Hills, they did Number the Beast. They did, there was a third one. Was it Hallowed Be Thy Name? I forget. But Maiden had a couple of early videos. Def Leppard had some early videos. And then other than that, for metal, there was just old Hendrix and Black Sabbath, music films.
Yeah, but
the metal really didn't get going until the Quiet Riot came on, because MTV did not want to they didn't play anybody black until Thriller came out, and the record label threatened them that if you don't play this, we're not going to give you any of our artists. And so then they started playing the Michael Jackson shit, and the Michael Jackson shit blew up, and Thriller became
it was very white.
Which that was like
but
82.
metal wasn't really, I think you're right, until Quiet Riot started happening. Now there's things that kind of were metal adjacent, that were hard rock,
but not on the charts.
Yeah.
You saw where the charts are at in 81.
Yeah.
There's very little rock on there. You get
so
like a
just
Pat Benatar,
we'd say Pat Benatar,
Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty.
Billy Idol.
Yeah, well, that was...
Billy Idol had a little teeth to it.
It did. I always loved the Billy Idol stuff. But that's not until a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because rap and metal at this time were both underground things.
Oh, totally.
That were going on. There was actually early crossover. If you listen to Rockbox or King of Rock from Run DMC,
sure,
they've got, I believe the guitar, I don't know why I know his name, but I believe the guitar player's name was Eddie Martinez. He was laying down some dope fucking distorted guitar metal riffs and like soloing and shit. It's good stuff. You listen to that old Run DMC stuff.
Yeah, the King of Rock was doing it, yeah.
Yeah, King of Rock and Rockbox as well with the guitar stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have the album, I just saw those on MTV. But once again, these were like...
We'll get into more MTV and we'll get into more music next week with next 82, because 82, 83, 84,
I'm hoping
it's going to pick up steam.
I'm hoping it's going to be real interesting. Next time we look at the Billboard Top 100 music charts for 82, because MTV started in August 81. Right?
Sure.
In those first 4 months, there wasn't much happening. But by, I think it was like Christmas break 81, everybody discovered it. So by 82, I remember in 1982 on Saturday Night Live, they did they made a music video because they were spoofing the fact that everybody's making music videos now. And so it was called Look at Our Video. And it was Tim Kazurinsky, Jim Belushi, and Gary Kroeger.
Oh yeah, that was a good lineup.
They were like, look at our video, look at our video.
Yeah.
I remember that was like 82. Anyway.
Let's go to movies.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's do TV.
Get TV out of the way. Wait, before we get out of music, real quick, 81 too, Bob Marley died. And here's something else. This ties into some of the old episodes. Diana Ross leaves Motown for RCA. But at the time, Diana Ross in 1981 was the highest paid artist of the time. And remember how we were talking in old charts? Diana Ross was everywhere.
Right. So
from the disco shit.
Barry Gordy, the owner of Motown, I don't know if you've ever watched any of the Motown documentaries. He was in love with Diana Ross, and I think they were going out at the time. And I think when they broke up, that's when she left.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
So we're gonna push along quick. So here we go. As far as TV shows go, I compared last year's list with this year's list. There are only 6 different shows.
TV.
Everything is the same, except for we're now welcoming Falcon Crest, which you said was a spinoff of Dallas.
It felt
Something?
like it was always on after it.
I feel like I don't know if it was like Knots Landing, which probably comes next year. I
Something
don't know.
like that. Yeah, something my parents watched. I got to stay up. If I was to stay up past my bedtime, I had to watch it.
I never watched Dallas, Falcons Crest, Knots Landing, or this one, Dynasty.
Yeah, that's one of those. Grab your blanket, grab your stuffed animal, and go sit with mom and dad on the couch and watch what they're watching. Or you're going to bed.
I'd rather not. I'd rather go to bed. I'd stay up for Heart to Heart.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So Falcons Crest is new. Dynasty is new. Actually, it's just 5. Hill Street Blues.
Oh yeah, Hill Street Blues. Yeah, I remember that was a big thing. It was a lot of big ratings bust. The year-end one with the alligator in the sewers was the big episode. Remember that one?
I didn't really watch it, but it was a huge show.
It was big
for
in the
like
TV
7
guide because it was the
years.
cover of the TV guide. It was every
All the
ad.
time.
There's like 6 ads in the TV guide on Hill Street Blues.
Well, I think it was a big gamble for was it NBC?
I think it was NBC.
Yeah, and they were really trying to push it to like catch on, and it did. Because I think, like I said, like last time we looked at TV listings, CBS was fucking killing it.
Yeah.
And Falcons Crest is CBS. Was Dynasty CBS or was that ABC? I feel like it was maybe ABC.
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, so Hill Street Blues. The last 2, the Heathers. Heather Thomas, Heather Locklear. T.J. Hooker, the Fall Guy. Okay, that's it for new TV
Shatner
shows.
rebirth.
Yeah.
Hey, also too here. Okay, well, and now TV-wise, I got one little quick thing. One of the biggest things that happened in 1981, and I remember this being on TV. Not only was General Hospital huge for soap operas, but here was on TV. Wasn't there like the Charles and Diana wedding was going down? So I remember being a kid and being like, "This is on again," and that's all the news was talking about, and it was the Charles and Diana wedding.
I feel like it was 82.
I don't know. I think it was 81. I got it here.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
July 29th, 1981. 750 million people tuned into the wedding. So for that time, think of those views, to watch a wedding of the royal stinking family. But not only that, the hype around it day after day, ad after ad, everything. It was just, you could not get away
Well, it was
from
presented as a fairy tale story for a couple years prior to that.
it. Yeah. It was
Which they like to go, oh, Diana Spencer's just a regular girl that Charles, picked out of the crowd. No, her fucking dad was like some well-known business guy.
Yeah, there was something happening. Yeah,
minor
there's payola.
land baron or something. Okay, so that's that. Now, we can move on to the movies.
You're a movie guy, so here we go. All right, let's do it.
Let me get my list here.
Now let's leave the low hanging fruit off.
What do you mean?
Well, the ones that will be like, oh, that's the one that the ones that nobody would know.
Well, this is a list of the top 122 grossing movies, but you'll see where we're at on this. Number 1 movie, 1981. Call it.
81. Let me think. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's it.
All right.
That's it. At 168 million.
Huh.
That's it.
Royal Wedding got more than that.
Yeah, but remember, like
This is the movies. People going out
movies were like
buying the ticket.
$2.50 a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Remember
pretty
the
good.
Dollar Theater? That was like half price.
Yeah.
So, number 2 movie of the year. Want to guess?
Raiders of the Lost Ark. E.T.?
No, that's 82.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember anything. Your ears are all messed up.
Well, yeah. It is a blur. I was at that age. Everything's a blur.
Superman 2.
Oh, Superman 2. Still Christopher Reeves.
Yep. Third highest grossing movie of the year, 9 to 5.
Hence why it's on the music charts. 9 to 5. Dolly
Exactly.
Parton.
Exactly. Number 4, Stripes.
Oh, Stripes. Yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah, we all were quoting Stripes.
Dude, a Bill Murray comedy at 85 million. That was a low-budget Harold Ramis production.
Yeah.
No, not Harold Ramis. Ivan Reitman, I believe.
Ivan Reitman. Yeah.
Arthur.
Arthur, here we go. Dudley Moore.
Cannonball Run.
Aha, I love the Cannonball Run. So this is okay. This is the comedic. This is okay. We were talking about this last week about the Cannonball Run, the Dom DeLuise and the Burt Reynolds.
Because it all goes back to Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham, his friend, the stunt coordinator.
Yes.
I think Hal Needham, because of the success of like Smokey and the Bandit, Hal Needham got to direct Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
Which they had a pretty good premise for.
Didn't they do? Yeah, it was a great premise. I like the idea. Now, was there a real Cannonball Run that happened at the same time? Like,
Yep.
but did they do it because of the movie, or did the movie kind of parody it? And the Cannonball Run has been going on, like these gearheads are doing the Cannonball Run every year?
I saw a little documentary about it on YouTube. I believe the Cannonball Run, they did like 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
And then they made the movie, which made it go big and then made it a bigger event. And I think they only did it for another 6 years.
Okay.
Because it was something like they just couldn't sustain it or something like that.
Sure.
Or like law enforcement got mad at them or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, because once the movie came out, it probably got so popular and offshoots trying to do that.
Yeah, it would be like, I think it was like the first couple of years, there were like maybe 20 racers. And then like, after the movie came out, there were like 400. It was like unmanageable.
Yeah.
So I think they stopped doing it. I watched something on YouTube about it. It's on YouTube.
Pretty fun.
Number 8, Fox and the Hound.
Oh, Disney Fox and the Hound, the animated one. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. That wasn't bad. Wasn't it a play on Robin Hood? No.
No. That's
that was actually
that's the Robin Hood. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
4 Seasons. I think this is one of these Alan Alda, Carol Burnett things like Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice and whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. Which, didn't we have that on the list last time?
I think so. So it might have been on the cusp.
It says here June 5th, 81. It came out. So maybe that was the
maybe
first
the
movie?
one before was like what, Things Are Tough All Over?
No.
Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke.
Up in
Up in Smoke with the weed van.
Yeah.
And then this is the one where they're selling the ice cream, selling out of the ice cream truck.
Okay.
Tarzan the Ape Man with Bo Derek.
Oh yeah, this would have flopped if it wasn't for her, but everyone loved Bo Derek.
This is after that movie 10.
Yeah.
The classic Excalibur, John Borman.
Oh boy, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was on Maxwell's Rent for me.
I've got it on DVD right now.
Yeah. Not bad.
This one I might have on Blu-ray. Time Bandits.
Oh, I saw that in the theater when I was a kid. Yeah, Time Bandits.
Terry
I thought
Gilliam.
it was very, very bizarre. It had a weird overtone to it, and I couldn't tell if I should be laughing or if it was serious.
So I believe it's the second movie from Terry Gilliam from Monty Python, the only American in Monty Python.
But it's not funny.
He was essentially an animator. It's sort of funny, but it's sort of very dark. It has a very confusing tone to it.
Yes.
It's sort of
kind of sci-fi.
dark, and the production design is very sort of grim, but so artistically done in the lighting.
Yeah.
When they do the Napoleon section, it's so evocative. The lighting.
I watched it as a kid, and that was another one. My parents dropped me off, and I go, I'm going to watch a movie, and I go, I'll go see Time Bandits, and I watched it by myself, and I remember leaving there by myself, walking out of there going, oh, and just feeling kind of like, I don't know if I'm like, it just leaves you kind of like, I don't know if I'm scared or I don't know.
And then the ending, you're
really
like
weird and empty.
You're like, is that supposed to be a happy ending?
Yeah.
Don't touch it. It's concentrated evil.
Concentrated evil.
I love that. Yeah. But once again, for me, I can't tell you if it's a good movie or not. This and like Conan the Barbarian from next year, I can't tell you if these, because I didn't see Time Bandits till it was on HBO. So for me, they both came same time.
Oh.
I loved them when I was like 9 or 10. I can't tell you if it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah, I was young,
Watched them every
so I
time
don't
they
know
were
what I didn't know what to expect. But then I kept renting it up. I remember coming back and doing this years later, that being a Maxwell's rental, watching it on my own.
Oh yeah, it's a good time. Endless Love. It's from the song.
Yeah.
Okay, American Werewolf in London.
There it is.
History of the World Part 1.
There it is.
Bustin' Loose with Richard Pryor.
Oh.
Great Muppet Caper.
Hey, yeah.
Clash of the Titans.
Oh, that one. We all love Clash of the Titans. I mean, come on.
It was hokey, but
It was hokey as fuck, but
I liked it.
Stop motion, whatever.
That's how I learned about Greek mythology.
True.
Fort Apache, the Bronx. The Jazz Singer with Neil Diamond.
Oh, yeah, Neil Diamond.
Only When I Laugh, whatever the fuck that is. I said it's a romantic comedy, but I doubt it's romantic or a comedy. Halloween 2. Escape from New York.
Oh, now that one was kind of wacky, too.
But a lot more straightforward in tone.
Yes.
It's a goofy sci-fi setup. It's a very gritty sort of ugly-looking movie. It's very sort of rundown and depressing, but boy, I love that when I was a kid. I was like,
I did
this
too.
is
I
awesome.
did too. Yeah, that was later. I watched it on HBO, but whenever it came on, I watched it like many times on HBO later.
If you think about it, John Carpenter never really put boobs in those movies.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Huh. There's a couple decapitated heads, though.
Oh, of course. I mean,
You gotta have decapitated heads.
what are we doing? What are we here for?
Heads on pikes.
All right.
All right.
Body Heat. Remember Kathleen Turner and One Hurt?
Yeah, she was a big deal then.
Graduation Day, whatever that is.
Okay.
Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
Okay.
French Lieutenant's Woman. Friday the 13th, Part 2.
All right. This is where I start getting them all mixed up.
Raging Bull.
Oh, Raging Bull. Ugh.
Reds. The Final Conflict. The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
Lily Tomlin?
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Outland. Sean Connery. Remember where he's investigating murders on a mining colony on a moon outside, was it Saturn or something?
No.
Yeah, Outland.
No, it sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
like-
the elevator pitch.
He's like a space cop or something like that.
Wow, what
He's
an elevator
investigating,
pitch.
murders.
Space cop.
Was it a moon colony? I forget. I don't know. Yeah, Outland. Heavy Metal.
Yes, our special. Yeah, we gotta have a heavy metal watch along, live
God,
watch.
I remember all of it.
too, because we saw it on LSD.
At one point, but we also saw it like on HBO
Yeah.
quite a bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on acid at one point. Number 36.
Huh?
Number 36 on the list.
Oh, number 36.
Empire Strikes Back. Still. What it says? It made 19 million. This is a year after its release.
Still cooking.
Still in theaters.
Yeah, but everyone likes it,
Mommy Dearest.
Oh, no wire hangers.
Absence of Malice. It's one of the Paul Newman lawyer ones.
All right.
Sharky's Machine. Burt Reynolds, once again with the stunts. Remember this one? They had the whole stunt where they had the stuntman jump like 80 stories off a glass building. Sharky's Machine. That was the only good thing in the movie was that big stunt. Anyway, Paternity. I think it was like Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks. I like Albert Brooks, though.
Albert Brooks' actual last name is Einstein.
No way. His real name is Albert Einstein?
His brother is Bob Einstein, Super Dave Osborne.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Marty
so I guess
Funkhauser.
it makes that. Is that why he changed it?
Yeah. It's like, what is it? David Bowie's real name is Davy Jones.
Right. Yeah, not to be confused with the Monkees, Davy Jones.
And Michael Keaton's real last name is Douglas.
All right. Yeah.
He took Keaton from Buster Keaton.
Not a bad idea.
All right. Under the Rainbow.
Oh, yeah. This is the one with the little people.
Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher. It's sort of about the making of The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
That was funny. Tess, I don't know what that is. The Private Eyes. Tim Conway and Don Knotts.
Oh, perfect duo. Yeah, they're always good. Timeless duo.
The Howling.
Oh, I've never seen The Howling, but it was a big deal. It's kind of scary.
Interesting thing about The Howling
Werewolf
is
again.
we had American Werewolf on London on here earlier.
Yes.
Was that this one?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, or was it last week? Anyway, so there were 3 werewolf movies that came out this year, maybe 4. So the transformation scene from American Werewolf in London was done by Rick Baker. Rick Baker had developed it for The Howling, but then John Landis stole him away. And the guy making The Howling, I forget who it was like, fuck, what am I going to do? So who do they go to? Rob Bottin, who did all the fucking effects for The Thing. So Rob Bottin in like 2 weeks whipped up that Howling fucking changeover scene. Okay.
Everyone loves a good werewolf changing scene, huh?
Because of those fucking movies. I mean, The Howling is not a good movie.
No.
But that Rob Bottin fucking werewolf changing scene is kind of fucking scary, man. Because the Rick Baker one, it's interesting because it's in full broad daylight.
Yeah.
The Rob Bottin one in The Howling, it's all shadow. You can only see part of the stuff. It's fucking.
Or it was the literal full moon changeover.
Yeah, it was cool. It was the best thing in the movie. The rest of the movie sucked. Eye of the Needle, don't know what it is. Take This Job and Shove It. Remember that one?
Oh yeah. Well, it was a vehicle
Terrible.
for the song.
Yeah, terrible. Cinderella. I think that's the Disney re-release of the animated one.
Sure.
Modern Problems. Chevy Chase, Dabney Coleman. Remember? He gets the green stuff on him, and then he has telekinesis. He can move shit around.
Oh, yeah.
Nell Carter was in it.
I forgot about that one.
Nell Carter was Dorita.
Yeah, Nell Carter
Dabney Coleman's fucking maid.
Yeah.
A lot of problems. And Patty Darvinville was in it. The Devlin Max Devlin. It was like Elliot Gould or something like that.
Yeah, Elliot Gould, yep.
Caveman. Ringo Starr. Dennis Quaid,
really?
Shelley Long, and Barbara Bach.
Ugh. I have not seen that. I can honestly say
You haven't seen that one?
I have not seen that.
I used to watch that all the time on HBO. It's it's like a silly fucking caveman farce. It's so dumb. Continental Divide. John Belushi is a dramatic thing. SOB by Blake Edwards. I kind of love this movie. If you're not familiar with it, Blake Edwards' wife is Julie Andrews, and so it's a movie where Julie Andrews shows her boobs. But it's all about sort of Hollywood insider stuff. It's like there's this group of like 4 or 5 friends who are like movie producers and writers and stuff like that, and one of them dies. So his other friends, who are fucking alcoholics and fucking like pill poppers, they decide to steal his body and go on one more fucking party round.
Oh, wow. Like a weekend of Bernie's.
SOB is silly. Okay. Taps.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With all the hot young actors. I think it was Tom Cruise's first movie. Nighthawks. Remember that?
No.
That was Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams as cops tracking down Rutger Hauer. The big climax scene is on a tram car.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer. Yeah,
Nighthawks.
he was
Stallone had
always
the
the
beard.
atypical bad guy.
Stallone had the beard and the aviator sunglasses.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer was always kind of a cool bad guy.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer was great. Always great. Scanners.
Oh, yeah.
The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, whatever the fuck that is. Blowout with Travolta and Nancy Allen. Remember where he's the audio Foley guy? He's got the parabolic dish and he records the car crash.
No, I don't know that one.
Ah,
No, I have no idea.
I watched this on HBO all the time.
Yeah.
That was a solid
Doesn't
flick.
ring a bell.
Legend of the Lone Ranger, terrible. Ghost Story, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Rich and Famous, whatever. On the Right Track. Private. Now we start getting into like the sort of sex ones. Private Lessons, True Confessions, Postman Always Rings Twice. These are all sort of fuck films. Okay, here we get the third werewolf movie, Wolfen.
Wolfen, yeah.
Albert Finney, terrible.
Nah, I'm sure.
Terrible. Victory.
All right.
Remember the soccer movie with Sylvester Stallone, Michael Caine, where they're prisoners of war? They play a soccer game.
Pele was in it?
Yes. Yes, that one. Victory. Happy Birthday to Me.
That was a murder one, wasn't it?
It's one of the original slasher flicks.
Yeah, that's what I was
It was
gonna
like
say,
Friday
yeah.
the 13th, Happy Birthday to Me, and My Bloody Valentine.
That's it.
Because Maxwell's.
Okay.
That's what was in the book. So Fine, Atlantic City, Zorro the Gay Blade,
Okay.
Carbon Copy, Ragtime. You remember this movie, Ragtime?
No.
It was about the jazz age. It was Blair Underwood, the black dude. He was playing Scott Joplin, the pianist.
It's like a Cotton Club kind of thing?
Sort of, but it was just all about the 1920s jazz music and shit like that.
All right.
It had
Sounds all right.
fucking
Blair Underwood was a big
James
deal.
Cagney was in it. It was like one of his last movies.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a big deal.
All right, Force 5, whatever that is, All Night Long, Rollover. Sounds familiar, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah. All right.
Eye for an Eye, Funhouse. Remember that one?
Wasn't there a Bond movie coming out?
I thought we did it already.
Wasn't it You Only Live Twice or something like that? Or
For Your Eyes Only, number 7.
For Your Eyes Only, yes.
Yeah, it was one of the Roger Moore ones.
Yeah.
Continental Divide, Taps, and let me just. I think there was just 1 or 2 more interesting ones on here. Like a lot of these, like Funhouse was that Elizabeth Barrage one where they're in the Funhouse getting killed. American Pop, that was one of these animated movies set to the music. It was Ralph Bakshi.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I have him on my Facebook, and he's actually selling a lot of his cells and stuff, like Lord of the Rings cells, and like movie cells, and the Bakshi movies are kind of cool. I like the movement that he used to be able to do.
Heart Beeps with Andy Kaufman and Bernadette Peters as robots. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, but it sounds like a nightmare. Andy Kaufman, I'm
was.
sorry, as a comedian, do I got to say it? Andy Kaufman stinks. I said it.
Dragon Slayer.
Yeah. That one took a while to.
I saw that in the theater.
Yes, I remember
I like
liking
that
that, but I remember the pacing being like, man, they're taking an awful long time to get to the dragon.
They do, but when they get to the dragon, it is fucking dope.
Yeah.
So instead of doing stop motion animation, which is what Ray Harryhausen did from the 30s up through everything, that's how they did King Kong, Jason and the Argonauts, all that sort of shit. They came up with what they called go motion instead of stop motion. So it was almost like the dragon was an actual physical thing that they made, and they were animating it with like puppet prop rods.
Yeah, like a giant puppet.
So they'd make it walk and shit like that. The dragon in there is so fucking dope, to the point where they even pay homage to it in Game of Thrones. One of the dragons on House of the Dragons is named Vermithrax.
Yeah, okay.
And that
Sounds
is
familiar.
going back to Dragon Slayer. I forget what the name of the dragon
Wasn't
was.
Rutger Hauer in Dragon Slayer?
No, it's Peter McNichol.
Is that the last American hero?
No, that's William Katt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Peter McNichol, yeah, he was a blonde guy, right?
Yes, but I love Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, I remember liking that as a kid too.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's about, but I can only imagine.
Well, the dragon's terrorizing the people, so the people are sacrificing
the
a virgin. Yeah,
and he has to save the virgin who he loves.
yeah. King's daughter. Gallipoli, Mel Gibson, that World War I movie with that.
Oh, I don't know that one, but
North Africa.
yeah, okay.
Pennies from Heaven, Steve Martin.
Oh,
Death Hunt, Galaxina.
all right, not bad, not a bad list.
The last one I want to mention here, maybe the last one. Well, Chariots of Fire is still fucking making money, I guess. It's here on the list. Remember Looker?
Oh, I liked Looker. I think it had the gun that would like
The light gun.
yeah, and they'd have missing time, so
Yep.
they would like, vroom, they'd hit you with the Looker gun, and then you'd wake up 5 hours later and be like, "Where
The only
was
way you
I?"
could protect yourself was with those mirrored sunglasses.
Yes, yes.
I really like Looker, because the other angle to Looker was this idea that they were using computers to analyze advertisements, and they were tracking people's eyes and what they were looking at. And
Yes.
so all the models were going to Albert Finney, who was a plastic surgeon, because they're like, my nose is 0.03 millimeters out of being perfect. And he's all like, you're stunningly beautiful. What do you fucking care about these minor things?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, the computer said so. So there's a lot of cool concepts in Looker.
Yes,
I thought Looker
it was kind
cool.
of ahead of its time.
It was. Looker and Runaway with Tom Selleck, I think, are both sort of like these sort of really interesting sort of
They're kind of like a sci-fi
futuristic
suspense, futuristic
they're like
sci-fi.
they're like 5 years in the future. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not crazy.
And they use suspense, but they'd throw some weird tech in there that you'd just be like, is it going to happen or not going to happen?
Yeah, because Looker's like part mystery, part thriller sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Albert Finney's sort of a dud, but I enjoyed that movie.
I did too. I did too. Yeah, but later it was a residual.
And I always loved the theme song by Sue Sad.
Oh.
Yeah, Looker. So that's a good one. Southern Comfort. Remember this movie? It's like Keith Carradine. It's like goddamn army weekend guys, National Guard guys, and they go to some fucking swamp in Georgia, and then some locals start attacking them.
Oh no! Okay, that's a fun elevator pitch.
Yeah, that's that one. There's a movie called The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper. On Golden Pond is still making money.
Oh, On Golden Pond's still there. Yeah, I saw that in the theater.
Because there's no way On Golden Pond Oscar winners down here at 106. It had to be from last year.
I think my mom took me to see On Golden Pond. I saw it with my mom.
The Oscars are like January, February. So if it came out in 80, it wins the Oscars. It's still making money in 81
Sure,
at this
it's
point.
still hanging in there.
I thought there was one more here. Nope, turned out not.
All right, that's a
so-
good run.
Yeah, a lot of good movies. Came out in 81. You know, that whole top run.
See,
of
if
like,
you're a younger
stuff.
person and all these movies sound unfamiliar to you or whatever, or if you go, okay, write down a key. They're not all bad. Usually when we mention stuff, I mean, we might mention it, and I'm not going to say it's cinematic genius, but it's part of the pop culture timeline that you really should indulge yourself in. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we like it because we were there, but I don't know.
No, but if you look at these top movies, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, once again.
Yeah, you can't,
Raiders, Star Wars, Back to the Future. I mean, hell, even for that matter, Karate Kid and Rocky. These are great movies.
Yeah.
You can watch them now. You can watch them then. They're still good.
Yeah, they still hold up. Yeah.
Yeah. Superman 2, yeah, that's pretty good. That's the one with the three bad guys, Zod and all that sort of
Oh,
shit.
yeah, Zod.
9 to 5 is a great movie. It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
Stripes is hysterical.
Yeah.
Arthur I never liked. Cannonball Run's a fucking good time.
Yeah,
For Your Eyes
Cannonball
Only-
Run was fun.
Yeah. For Your Eyes Only is just fucking Roger Moore 007. If you like it, you like it. Cheech and Chong,
Yeah, now some of these-
Excalibur, Time Bandits. I mean,
Yeah,
American World
yeah,
for
they're all
London,
good
History of the
rentals.
World Part 1. Ugh,
Yeah, really.
so good.
roll a doobie and watch them. They're good stuff. Okay, so 1981. Do you want the tech, real quick, before I got a list. Do you want the tech or do you want? Here we go. Do you want tech or do you want foods?
Foods.
You like? Well, not foods, but
go through it.
It came to be.
Yeah, go through it quick. These are sort of interesting.
All right, the foods.
It's sort of surprising where it's like, really, that came in that late in time?
Yeah. Well, guess what here? Chicken McNuggets were introduced on the menu. McDonald's.
Makes sense.
And they also, in 1981, at the same time, came up with the McRib.
I was going to say the what was the hot side hot and the cool side cool? Remember
No,
that?
that's later. That's later.
Okay.
That's later.
The McRib,
But at the time, they were kind of doing that because they had styrofoam containers. So the styrofoam, they would do that with the breakfast. Remember the hot cakes and sausage were in styrofoams?
I didn't eat McDonald's breakfast until I was out in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Yeah, back then it was all styrofoam.
I had this one job where my boss would be like, "Are you hungry? I'll give you some money if you go get us some McDonald's breakfast." I'm like, "All right." We fucking plow the fucking
Oh, yeah. It
breakfast
always made
platter.
my stomach hurt, but I loved it.
Oh, no, they were good. As long as you didn't eat the stupid sausage. Sausage would make you sick.
Yeah,
But the pancakes and the eggs.
Oh, yeah. It was.
The hash browns will look greasy.
Yeah, and the crumbly biscuit was a little underwhelming.
Ooh, that's right, the biscuit.
Yeah. All right. Well, convenience foods. Lean cuisine came out. You didn't eat those, but they were a big deal. Everyone had. Our parents were eating a lean cuisine. Like, Mom's gonna lose weight. Mom's been jazzercising, so Mom's eating. Don't eat Mom's lean cuisines in the freezer.
So you say freezer, which brings in there for the microwave. This is when the microwaves were starting to get big.
And microwave food. Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, let's see. Wow. I don't know why this is on here. Sloppy Joes and tricolored pasta salads were popular. Sloppy Joes were the summer sandwich.
Well, the Sloppy Joes, that's like Manwich.
Manwich, so I would assume maybe Manwich had something to do with that.
They probably started putting out Manwich. Because before that, like my dad just made Sloppy Joes himself. You just put in the meat, you put a little tomato sauce, you just make it up.
Yeah.
It was like chili. You don't buy it, you just make it.
Yeah, it was just a thing.
So it's probably just Manwich. What was the other one? The pasta salad? So that's where they started making, you got the regular pasta, and then they had the pasta made out of carrots, and then the pasta made out of like spinach or something.
Yeah, the tricolor, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I mean, it's still around to this day. It's still there.
I mean, it's like you can get yellow tortilla chips, white tortilla chips, blue tortilla chips.
Yeah, I know. Is it food coloring? Who knows? I don't know.
No, it's not. It's blue corn. You ever had the blue ones?
Yeah.
They don't taste much different. A little bit of texture difference, but.
Yeah, I'd never noticed any difference.
I mean, there's a texture difference between the white corn tortillas and the yellow corn tortillas.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, if you were to blindfold me, I couldn't tell you which one was which.
It depends on the manufacturer. Some you can.
Here's what frozen dessert, well, not frozen, but desserts, pudding pops came into play.
Interesting.
The pudding pop.
So, in the pudding pop coming from Jell-O.
Yes.
Because Jell-O was huge in the 70s, and they started doing the chocolate pudding, the Jell-O pudding stuff, and they had Bill Cosby advertising it.
Yep. And then
Jell-O pudding pops.
And then they froze it. Somebody goes, let's put it in the freezer and sell it. Yeah.
Oh, they were pretty tasty. I mean, it's basically a fudgesicle at that point.
Yeah. Well, introduced in America, but it came from Italy, was a coffee-flavored Italian dessert called tiramisu.
Really?
Yes. Before that, it wasn't even around. So imagine that. Let's see. Skittles were introduced to the United States. Skittles, but they were already successful in Europe.
Really?
Yes, Skittles were already a thing in Europe, but they didn't have them here.
Wow, interesting. They probably got scared off by M&M's.
Maybe the M&M lobby. I don't know. And the Score candy bar.
Oh, the Score.
Yeah, it was like a toffee kind of thing.
Score from like Sweden or Norway or something.
Yeah, it was like an elegant candy bar.
Can I say something about the Skittles and the M&Ms? Did you know that the shape of Skittles and M&Ms is the most efficient shape to pack a bunch of small things together into a space? That sort of elliptical shape, that is the best shape for putting a whole bunch of stuff into something and having them fit together.
Is that your assessment or in general?
No, I saw it on TV somewhere. It's like if you had like balls, when the balls touch each other, there's this gap, where there's nothing. But you get that sort of, rounded elliptical shape. They just line up and get up next up against each other. You can get more in the same space. Okay.
Pound for pound, we ought to sell this episode because this is a very knowledgeable episode. Mike, you're full of knowledge today. And not only that, I think it's our pacing's good. We're doing good. You're learning stuff. This is a good Shlicketty cast. Before we go, we got to Know what we do every week? So at this point in our timeline, I'm done with Saturday morning cartoons. I'm about 12. I'm about 13. I'm like, you know what? Cartoons, schmartoons. I'm going outside. I'm playing. You know, this is...
No. We're 10 at this time. This is 1981. We were born in 71.
Yeah, we're 10. Yeah, we might watch cartoons, but it's not like a big deal, like a ritual. It didn't seem...
It still blows my mind that you're like, what, 7 months older than me?
7
6 months
months,
older
yeah.
than me?
One school year, but we're at the same age pretty much. Just one school year.
Well, that was the whole thing. We would have been in the same school year if my mom didn't hold me back from starting kindergarten.
Yeah, because you're mad about that.
Because my brother wasn't ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you and Jones and all my friends in the grade above me.
Yeah.
The only friends I had in like my grade were like Rome, Stakara, and like Sam Kaufman.
Yeah. We all graduated. Yeah, we were all gone. You were by yourself. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
my crew's gone.
Seriously, once you guys like my senior year, like I was alone most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Rome was hanging out with the popular crowd. You know, Stakara was with me all the time. I'd pick him up and go to work, and then we'd go to school, and then we'd go to work after school. But nobody was in my classes.
Yeah, I remember.
I
I remember kind of like playing in bands and doing stuff, but you had school, whereas I didn't. I was out of school, so I was in bands, but I don't even think I had a job then.
No.
I think I was just kind of like sleeping in. And
I used to stop by your fucking dad's house after school, and you're like,
I
with
was
the
getting high,
bathrobe. You're like, I just woke up.
Yeah, just woke. Yeah, wake up. Yeah.
And then I remember the next year when I graduated, it got to be like September when school started, and I didn't know what to do. And I came over to your house, and I'm like, what do you do now?
Yeah, what do we do? Yeah, because I don't think I was working. I think I just had the band, and I might have had to 2-day week. Yeah, I don't even think I got to the record store by then. No. The record. Yeah, it was a while.
No, but I
don't think I
remember.
worked.
I remember from you were like
It was just a band.
like 10th, 11th, 12th grade. You guys were playing out all the time.
Yeah, so I didn't. Yeah, but those years after, yeah, that was weird. But back to where we're at, 1981. I don't know. See, this is where I made the list. This list this week, because all these previous weeks I've been doing Saturday morning cartoon grid. Okay. We're extending that for time.
No, but seriously, by like 80, 81, the cartoons all sucked.
That's my point.
I mean, honestly,
and that's the
before that,
point of this list
By
this week.
78, 70, like, you know, Scooby-Doo was only like 2 or 3 years, and then it's just repeats, and then it's just they're doing them with like, you know, the Harlem Globetrotters. And,
and here's Heckle and Jekyll. And
here's the
here's
Three
the
Stooges.
Herculoids fucking comedy hour.
Yeah, it got to be, you know, they had
Mashups, yeah.
Godzilla and the Godzuki, and you put Scrappy, like everything got terrible by the
Well, here's
early
where
80s.
1980 they started catering to girls and younger kids.
Well, this is also after, like I said, at some point, they signed some legislation that these kids shows can't just be advertisements for toys. There's got to be some educational content. When you start having to do you can hear me wheezing when I suck.
Yeah, wheezing.
When they start getting this educational content, they're having to hire somebody who's an educator to be on staff.
Yes.
If you're going to have to hire this person to be on staff, you better make a better quality show. It's not just, you know, oh, the kids like the dancing thing, you know, like. So they started to be a little bit more deliberate in the shows and the writing and stuff like that. But they weren't just advertisements for toys.
Yeah, but the concepts were watered down. But you'll see, okay, here's my list, and this will give you a thing, because most of these ones that end up on the list are toys, like he said, toys. So here it is, here's my list. 80s Saturday morning cartoons, but instead, these are ones that made us go, I'm out. I'm out of here.
Oh, wait. This is the top 5, bottom 5 list.
Well,
Is this the top 5, bottom 5
it's going to be
list?
bottom 5 worst, but instead of being top, there is no top. Top to me, on this list, is going to be tolerable.
All right, so it's like that one list I did.
I won't throw my remote. It's tolerable. I'm not going to say the top part of the list isn't going to be like, hey, this one was great. No, they all were terrible. They all stink.
All right,
but it was
savable.
savable.
Let's do the okay ones first, and then do the throw the remotes.
All right. Well, and this is of the 80s.
So
Number
this will
5
technically
was
be the top 5.
Voltron. It was a Japanese takeoff of the Transformers.
Not really. It was before Transformers.
Yeah.
But it was actually based on, there was an older cartoon called Battle of the Planets, where they had the 5 different ships that would come together into one giant mechanized robot thing.
You're right.
And they took that and they did it with the Voltron, They were all like lions or something.
Yes.
And then the one became the head, one became the arms, and each one became the legs, and one of them became its crotch. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And it had to feel, it almost felt like the people who made Speed Racer made it, you know?
It was
very Speed Racer and anime-ish.
It was very much geared towards kids.
Yes, yes. So,
And
but
honestly,
that was tolerable.
It was like a precursor of the Power Rangers.
Yes.
Power Rangers was Voltron live action, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. So there's where it all came from, kids. You know, because back
Battle
then,
of the Planets.
yeah,
Was it Battle of the Planets? Is that what it was called? Because Battle of the Planets, the ship was called the Phoenix.
Oh,
and they had F1. One was a motorcycle. One was like
right.
Remember that shit?
Yeah. One would be one was like a Jeep.
Yeah, I used to have a model of the ship, and it was like there was this little.
There's a motorcycle. There's a Jeep. There's a plane. There's a helicopter.
Yeah, the plane would dock in the back of
them.
it. The nose cone came off, and you could put the motorcycle and shit inside. The little model of it. Yeah. I like that. That one was good. I dug that.
All right, here. That's number 5, Voltron. Number 4. This one was tolerable. I'm not gonna say it was great, but I watched it. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah. Well,
now this is the Spider-Man where they had the girl Firestorm, and then there's Iceman.
Oh,
remember that?
No, I didn't watch any of this. The only Spider-Man shit I ever watched was the old '60s cartoon with the cool theme song, which I loved.
Oh yeah, that was a cool one. That was
real
an Electric Company though, wasn't it?
No. Electric Company had Spider-Man in there teaching how to read because they were having him not. First time I heard Spider-Man talk, I was like, Spider-Man talks? Because I just knew him from Electric Company.
Yeah, that's true.
But that old '60s one with the
no, this is Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Spider-Man.
Now you'll also notice the animation style of all these ones that are tolerable. They almost had the same animation feel. Not Voltron. Voltron was separate, but Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends had this look to it, and I find it kind of stiff, but the faces were and the girls had ridiculously big boobs.
Oh, did they?
Oh yeah, Firestorm had an awesome body. I was like, whoa.
I don't know that I ever saw this.
Yeah. But then you go into number 3, Dungeons and Dragons, which once again was all right. It was tolerable. Now, of course, they had to throw in something cutesy for little kids. They had this little unicorn called Uni, but then there's like,
I threw out the remote, but this one I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was tolerable. It was my 12-year-old, 10-year-old self was like, all right, I'll watch it. I'm cool with it.
Because you liked the Dungeons and Dragons.
I was a D&D head back then, and this was the closest thing I could get. Like, even though like my brain wanted to go watch Dragon Slayer, but hey, if I'm eating my breakfast cereal, all right, I'll watch Dungeons and Dragons. All right, it's adjacent to what I liked.
Yeah, you try and support it because it's in your wheelhouse. It's what you like.
Yeah, sure. And it's sanctioned by Gary Gygax and the Dungeons and Dragons people. So it's not like a cheap knockoff. It was their logo, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
so it was
officially licensed or whatnot.
Number 2, tolerable. Transformers was tolerable.
Was it though?
No. Once again, that might have been one I watched because it was there. Not because I liked it. I just go, well, I don't know. The plot. I don't remember any of the plots. None of it was very good. I thought Optimus Prime was kind of cool and scary, or not scary, but kind of cool. Being a truck. And then, of course, the Decepticons were kind of cool. But yeah, tolerable. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Did you hate it? Was that a throw your remote, change a channel, or did you watch it?
No, I mean it didn't speak to me. The only thing I ever liked about Transformers before any of that shit came out, my Aunt Renee down in Virginia, we went down there and she actually had one of those early Transformers. They were made out of metal. Mm-hmm. And they were
yeah,
dope.
the first runs of them were. Yeah,
she had like in a box.
Yeah,
up
my
on top
nephew
of the fridge.
had a few, and they were cool.
I'm like, why do you have that truck in the box? I think it was Optimus Prime. She's like, oh, look at this, and she pulls out because she had like young kids, so she was keeping it away from the young kids. But I was like 12 or something like that. She's like, check this out. And fucking she opens it up and the arms and shit. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been my
I'd never seen it before. And it was like heavy. And I was like, god damn, this is cool. And then the cartoon came out. But it was really geared towards kids. It was geared towards 9-year-olds for selling toys.
Yeah. All these are toys, yeah. There we go. Two is Transformers. And number 1 for tolerable. All right, we watch it. G.I. Joe.
Okay, yeah.
Cobra Command and them were cool. Snake Eyes was cool. We liked it.
I will say, all these, the Transformers and the G.I. Joe stuff, I remember when these came out because this is when the animation style shifted.
And they all looked the same.
They all looked the same. It was probably some South Korean studio that was doing them or something like that.
Probably.
But I remember because the thing that made them different was the use of light. They started to do a thing where they would have sort of transparent bits. So anything that was a light in the animation, they actually let actual light through. Which before in animation, that didn't happen.
Right.
If you want an explosion, you just made yellow and red paint, you know, a little explosion. But then they would have like the light coming through it so shit would glow. That was new.
Yeah, and everything seemed a little sharper and brighter, and it caught our attention better. It wasn't quite so greeny.
But it's all limited animation. It's terrible.
Yeah. So all those G.I. Joe, Spider-Man, and his friends, Dungeons & Dragons, Transformers, they all seemed like they're from the same animation house. They all had that weird 80s kind of But honorable mentions for Tolerable. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, kind of tolerable. I thought it was a stupid premise. I liked the comic book. I had the comic book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It was a black and white comic book, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I was kind of into the comic book, but then once they made the live action, or once they made the cartoon, I was like, I'm out.
Well, that's when all the 8-year-olds started getting into it.
Yeah, it was kind of catching on. I was like, this was no longer a hidden thing that us comic book nerds had.
Right.
You know, they kind of took it from us.
I remember the first I noticed about it was Scott Ian had him on one of his guitars.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Ian from Anthrax.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
Honorable mention.
Wait. Speaking of which.
What?
1981. Wasn't that, was that Spreading the Disease came out that year?
Spreading the Disease. Oh, Metal Music, Anthrax Spreading the Disease?
Or was that Fistful of Metal?
I think it was Fistful of Metal.
Which is probably an EP. That's probably why it wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we're getting close to that.
Okay, Spreading the Disease is probably next year. Man, 82 is going to be fucking wall to wall.
Oh, yeah. Honorable mentions still were in there. I could handle Thundar the Barbarian.
I like Thundar.
Yeah, it's still Hanna-Barbera, but it was fine.
It was Hanna-Barbera. It didn't really have the glowing.
Yeah, it seemed kind of gloomy and post-apocalyptic. That's why I liked it.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, and here's one I kind of liked off the beaten track. Do you remember Danger Mouse?
Yeah.
He was like a little white mouse, and it was kind of like a takeoff of Spy, Kato, and Danger Mouse was kind of fun. It's kind of silly.
Yeah. Were there two of them? Or was it just the one?
Yes, there's two. Yeah, there's one. He had the eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like spies. That was kind of fun. I liked watching it.
In my brain, it's sort of getting meshed with Pinky in the Brain.
Oh, yeah. It was way before that. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's the worst. Well, let's go to the worst list. Now, these are like, I'm going to throw my fucking remote, and I hate Saturday morning cartoons, and this is why I'm done with Saturday morning cartoons after this.
Yeah.
Because this is going to make me mad. Number 5, Super Friends.
Which I used to love.
Well, yeah, we're younger. We loved it. But then they started adding characters. Now, this Super Friends is when they started adding the Indian guy. Remember the black guy with the thunderbolts? They added him. And then they added the...
Wait, it was... what was his name?
They started making it PC.
Well, I remember the... God.
They were the twins that turned into animals. The one would be a form of water.
Zan and Jaina.
Yeah, well, they added a monkey to Zan and Jaina. Remember? They had like a little monkey.
Yeah. No, they always had that.
Was it? I didn't. Yeah.
Originally, in the first couple of ones, because remember I had a comic book. It was Wendy and Marvin, and then they had a dog.
Oh.
And the dog thought that he was a superhero too. That lasted like a year or two, and then they went to Wonder Twins.
But then you're blending in Aquaman and Superman, and
No, but you're right. Apache Chief.
Apache Chief, yes.
And he would say, "In they Chuck," and then he'd transform. And then there was it like Black Bolt or Black Lightning or something like that?
He was electricity.
Yeah. It went from Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which Aquaman sucked. And then all of a sudden there were like 4 more, and it's sort of like, who are these guys?
Yes, yeah. Super Friends was jumping the shark. It was like, and the animation seemed really rushed and stiff and just not good.
That's the limited animation.
It was horrible.
It was all limited animation.
Then
But clearly, the Hanna-Barbera people, they didn't fucking care at that point.
No, at that point, yeah, they were sick of shit. So, number 4, Muppet Babies. Really?
Ooh, did that start in 81?
Yes.
Wow. I really thought that was like a 86 or 87 thing.
Well, yeah.
Really? Muppet Babies 81?
I think so. Well, I don't know about 81, but early 80s. It was like 81, 82, somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
You're jumping the shark now.
Yeah, but Muppet Babies. Think about that. The Baby Muppets.
Is that really?
Give it a goog.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up real quick.
What year was that?
Yeah, Muppet Babies.
But the whole thing is the 80s. It was just enough for me to go, I'm done with Saturday morning cartoons. They stink.
84.
84. Okay, not far away.
No, but not 81 yet.
All right, number 3, Snorks.
Oh man, I remember this thing. Was this like coming out of the goddamn Smurfs or something? I remember these were the ones with they had like broken straws on their heads or something.
Yeah. Or were they underwater?
Boy, I don't know.
I think they were underwater-ish.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it made me mad because not only, Smurfs were bad enough. That was honorable mention. I didn't even mention the Smurfs because the Smurfs are stupid. But right, they Smurfs. I'll give Smurfs a pass because I was like, all right, well at least you got an original concept cooking here.
Yeah, right.
You know. But then when you start offshooting Snorks, because the Smurfs were a hit.
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone did in the 80s.
I mean, the Snorks were the knockoff to the Smurfs the way the GoBots were the knockoff of the Transformers.
Yeah. Oh, knockoffs over knockoffs. Then, here's another knockoff for number 2. So Snorks was 3. Number 2, this is throw your remote moment. The Gummy Bears of Gummy Glen.
What?
They were an offshoot from the Care Bears.
Wow.
A spin-off of the Care Bears had the Gummy Bears.
In 81?
Yes, 81, 82, somewhere in there.
What is it? The Gummy Bears of Gummy Woods?
Gummy Glen. Yeah, Gummy Bears of Gummy Glen.
That is nuts. With an I?
Yep. What's the year on that one?
Gummy Glen. I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, I remember Care Bears being super horrible, and then this coming out and then going, oh, this stinks.
85.
Oh, 85. Okay, not far away.
6 seasons.
Wow, it's stuck in there.
Wait, here's the wiki. Let me see real quick. Just give me a fucking year. Just put some numbers up, people.
And once again, I didn't add Care Bears because Care Bears...
85 to 88.
Wow.
Oh, wait. 85 to 88 on NBC, and then 89 to 90 on ABC.
Oh, my God.
And then syndicated from 90 to 91. Grr.
Ugh.
Wow.
See, they were putting anything out back then.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, once again, I didn't add, just like Snorks.
Yeah, because Care Bears wasn't a thing yet.
Not yet, but being 80s, I'll give them their dues. I'll give them their dues because at least, even though it was made for girls and kids and young kids, at least it's an original concept, conceptually. So I can't hate it that bad. It's like Smurfs. It's like, all right, whatever. But I ain't gonna watch it. And the worst one of them all, My Little Pony. Oh, gotta go.
No, once again, I don't think that came out in 81.
No, not 81. No, we aren't staying in 81. This is just 80s. These lists. But all good reasons why in the 80s we were done with Saturday morning cartoons. I'm going to the, I'm taking a shower. I'm going to go ride my bike till it's time to go to the mall.
I feel like searching My Little Pony is just going to fucking open up a Pandora's box of trouble. All right, let's see. Wikipedia. The first toys were developed by blah, 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 produced in 1981. So the toys came out in 1981.
Yeah, the cartoon, though.
Let me see. Following the original My Pretty Pony toy that was introduced in 81, My Little Pony was launched in 1982. Wait. Sorry. My fucking eyes are terrible. Following the original My Pretty Pony toy, My Pretty Pony, launched in 81. My Little Pony was launched in 82.
They went for a rebrand.
Yeah. Okay. The original toy line ran from 82 to 92 in the United States and to 1995 globally in 2 animated specials, an animated full-length feature film, and 2 animated television series produced during the period up to 92. Television series of films. Here we go.
Television.
86.
86, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, it's much later. And that was just running in syndication, so I wasn't even on a network.
But everything else on the grid, though, was Saturday morning stuff that we had talked about in previous weeks, but it was just either old or this weird new stuff, and it was just watered down and just horrible. Saturday mornings no longer were, now it's just like, turn on the background, eat your cereal, and go do something.
Honestly, I feel like by the time...
I was out of cartoons by then.
Yeah, I was mostly out of cartoons, I mean, except for the Bugs Bunny. But I remember by 10, I was watching all these movies on HBO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
so cable's opened up a whole different ballgame here.
Yeah, cable's definitely opening things up. because I just wasn't paying attention to cartoony sort of stuff.
No.
So, yeah, because MTV kicked on too.
So bye Saturday morning cartoons. No more grids for me for that one. So we're out. But we got to save room because next year we're getting into it. You're going to add metal to the list because we're metalheads. But we're also going to add. We're going to have to go into some MTV stuff. So we're going to have to soak up some time that way.
Well, what's going to start happening is once in '82, I'm hoping that we'll see it in the charts in the music charts, the Billboard charts.
Yeah, hopefully they'll coincide with MTV a little bit.
Yeah, because you saw where we're at here for '81. It's a lot of schlock, a lot of Betty Davis eyes and shit like that. I imagine next year's Billboard list is probably going to be like half of that.
Sure.
And then half of things like, Human League, Berlin, Send Me an
the
Angel.
new wave. Yeah, the British new wave.
Yeah, Adam and the Ants might pop up in there. Even some Girls on Film, some early Duran Duran.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
Yeah, like I Want Candy and bullshit, and
directly from MTV.
Yeah,
yep, exactly. So I'm curious to see the
crossover.
I'm curious to see, like, it's not going to come out yet. I can just Google it, but I'm going to wait till next week and look at it then. But I'm expecting that the Billboard charts are going to be sort of half radio shit and then half MTV shit. And then by '83, it's just going to be all MTV. That's my prediction.
I think you're pretty right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Tune in. Shlicketty Dukast. Thanks, guys. Love you.